And we are back on another episode of the Writers Game podcast. I am your host, Kyle King, seven-time published author, CEO, and founder of the Writers Game organization based right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And look, we are happy. We are happy because tonight is Q&A night. Tonight is Q&A night. So tonight is going to be a little bit different. But before we get started, have you gotten your copy? Have you gotten your copy of the Writer's Game book, The Business Behind Your Story? Have you gotten your copy of the Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story? My newest book that walks you through the whole process of writing, publishing, becoming a published author. How do you launch? How do you market? And how do you build a business beyond your story? Leveraging speaking engagements, consulting opportunities, digital products, courses, live events, brand partnerships, all of these different things so that you can be able to maximize your impact while also being able to grow your income. Okay. So you have to be able to get the book. Go to the Writer's Game book, thewritersgamebook.com or writersgamebook.com. They will both route you to the page. They will both route you to the page to be able to get your book today. And look, tonight is all about you guys. I want to be able to answer any questions that we have. We have had questions that were submitted before we started going live. So if you have any questions as we're going through it, I want you to put your questions in the comment section. Put your questions in the comment section and we'll get to it. So what we're going to cover tonight are the top 10 questions usually that I get during the course of a week. Okay. So if I'm meeting with clients, if these questions are submitted, if these questions were emailed in one of our courses, these questions are what majority of either aspiring authors, current authors, business professionals are asking as a part of their author journey. All right. So we're going to get to all of those questions tonight. So with the first question, I'm really interested in what I'm going to do. I'm going to post it as a comment and then I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Okay. So the first question that we have is, what should my first book help me do? And it's interesting because I was on the middle of a call and as you can see, I didn't have any paper next to me. So I started taking notes on this manila folder, craziest thing. And then I was doodling on this one as the client was talking, craziest thing. But, she asked the question, what should my book first help me do? I broke this down into 3 different sections. Okay. So the first book, in my opinion, your first book will help you build your brand and your visibility. Okay. So usually this is the one telling your story, getting you familiar with the process of becoming an author. This will allow you to either scale or grow your business, but this will ultimately build your brand and your visibility. Your first book usually does that. It builds your brand, builds your visibility. Once you focus on writing that second book, that's where the transition then happens. The second book that you usually write is highly a niche focused book, maybe industry specific, because now you've already established yourself as an authority. You've already established yourself as an author. And now your second book is where you are now positioning yourself in a specific industry that will allow you to grow your revenue, your business, or your overall brand as well. So book number 2 that you usually write is focusing on your authority or a niche specific book. I'm going to give you an example. This book, now it took me 6 books to get to this point, but this is very industry specific. This is for CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs, or people that are interested in getting on stages, consulting with companies, building their business. They already have a level of expertise or experience, and now they want to take that and package it into a book, and then they want to be able to grow that moving forward. So this is an industry specific and a niche style book. All right. So then number 3 is your third book that you would write. If you made it through the first 2, in my opinion, that's where we focus on legacy and really building wealth. So the question that I get all the time from people, and it's interesting because this is my second question that I'll be asking tonight, is what book should I write first? What book should I write first? I'm going through my questions. Here it is. So I have so many ideas. Here's question 4 for the night. I have so many ideas. What should I write first? In my opinion, right? Just my humble opinion. If you were to sit down with God and he was to say that you only have 30 minutes left, you only have 30 minutes left to live, and you have to speak and use all of your information, and you have to speak to a group or a group of individuals or a group of people on a specific subject matter and that will be how your legacy is left when you are gone. My question for you would be, who would that group of people be? Who would it comprise of? And what would be the subject matter content that you would be delivering? All right. And why I say it like that is because for me, if I had 30 minutes left to live and I was only granted one more speech, I would talk to fathers. I would talk to men that have children. And the overall message would be, how can you enhance yourself, empower yourself so that you could be able to empower your child at home so that we could be able to create leaders? I believe that I was called in this way to be able to share my story of my relationship with my son, the relationship that I have with my father, and be able to enhance fathers worldwide and just men worldwide and how they engage with their children. Restorative discipline practices. How do you co-parent effectively? How do you love your child and develop emotional intelligence with your child as well? So when you have all of these different things that you want to talk about, when you have all of these different things that you want to write about, where I would start, your first book, in my opinion, is the one that's most heartfelt, the one that's most meaningful to you. And I would start writing that book first, because time is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. And if you were to only have the opportunity to write one book, you want to be able to write the book that leaves a lasting legacy. Okay, that leaves a lasting legacy. All right, so I'm skipping around to the questions because I want to kind of answer them in order. And again, guys, this is Q&A. This is Q&A. So if you have any questions, I was presented 10 questions this week that I have prepared to be able to answer throughout this conversation. But if you have any questions on this journey of being an author, on this journey of building a business, on this journey of getting clarity on your specific offer, any questions for me personally or professionally, I want you to be able to position them and answer them. All right. So question number, technically 3, but it's number 2 on my list tonight, is, are books still useful? Are books still useful? So I'm going to bring this question up. Are books still useful? Heck yeah, they are. Heck yeah, they are. So in my opinion, obviously I'm biased because we work with authors and professionals on leveraging their book. But in my opinion, books are the best lead magnet and front end offer for any business owner. And the reality of it is, and a lot of the clients and experts that we work with, once you write your book, it allows you to go through this therapeutic process and unpack your story. It allows you to build a cohesive framework and a process that will allow you to take your customers or your clients through a transformative process that is organized and that is clear and transformative. And it allows you to essentially book serve as, this is a 1999 book, a business card. This is your business card that you can send to companies, you can send to schools, you can send to governmental organizations or politicians. And all of this is your direct resume to tell someone that receives this that I know what I'm talking about. You need to bring me in to engage with your organization. You need to bring me in to speak. And I believe this is the best way, the absolute best way to not only secure your legacy, to not only grow your income, but to also prove that you know what you're talking about and to establish yourself as an authority. So that would be my quick answer to, are books still useful? Yes. Millions of people are becoming authors every single year. Tens of millions of people's books are published every single year. And if your voice stopped working today, it's a question that I always ask our authors or anybody in general. If your voice stopped working today, what have you built that can speak for you? Oftentimes, we're looking at building generational wealth and opportunities and all of these different things. But if your voice stopped working today, that thing you give great stories, advice, share memories, and all of these different things, if it stopped working, what have you built? What have you written? What blueprint have you created that can speak for you and that can last generations? Your book serves as your blueprint. And that's why in every season of my life, in every major chapter that is closed, when I've closed that chapter, I write a book about it so that I can be able to educate the next generation. All right. So, all right. So question technically number 4, but the next question, it's number 3 on my list, is, where do I start writing? Kyle, I have this book idea. I have these things that I want to be able to write about. Where do I start writing? Where do I start my process? I always take people through two questions. What are your impact related goals? And what are your income related goals? I was talking to an author earlier on today, and he had an array of ideas. He had an industry specific book that he wanted to write. He had a book on marriage and relationships that he wanted to write. And then he had a book specific for leaders of corporate organizations. Then I asked him the initial question that I asked you guys. If you only had 30 minutes, and what, what would you speak about? And then who would you speak to? And then I asked him the next question. He was like, what would be some homework that I could just do as I'm kind of thinking about engaging with you all as a company? And I said, I want you to ask yourself, what are my impact related goals and my income related goals? In 6 to 12 months, what would you want? How would you want to be able to make a difference? And how would you want to be able to generate dollars? Okay. And what I mean by that is when we look at the difference, how many people would you want to speak to? Or how would you want to engage with people? What rooms would you want to be in? I'm going to look at my book really quickly and kind of just give you, direct facts out of the book and some questions that you could ask yourself is, who do you want to be a hero for? What major problems do you want your book to solve? And how many people do you want to touch within the first year of your book being published? Then the second question is income related goals, right? What do you want this book to do for you financially? Are there certain things that you want to be able to accomplish that requires financial capital or revenue? And now when we think about all of the array of opportunities that follow that, that's where we need to start writing our book. Because if I want to be a hero for men that are parenting children, then now it helps me understand the content that I need to write, because then the next question is understanding the demographics. So understanding your demographic information of your reader, understand their pain points and their challenges, understanding their desires and their ultimate achievements, understanding their objections, understanding their frequently asked questions. And now when we dive deeper with our target audience, now it gives us the ability to ask those tough questions and understand, who is this person? What should I be writing about so that I could be able to touch and transform this person? And that gives you the framework, or at least the dump of content, or the direction for you to begin the process of writing. But before you just start writing whatever it is that you think is important, I need you to understand what your audience believes to be important and what they're going through as well. All right. So the next question, and again, if you all have questions, post them in the comment section. I will bring them up and we can get to it. All right. We can get to it. So how do I know that the book is complete? How do I know that the book is complete? When we think about the central objective of your book, right, it's kind of like a coffee chat explanation of your book. So my book helps this individual do X by creating this. So I'm going to give you an example in real time, right? So I think in chapter 3, I believe in chapter 3 of my book, I talk about in planning your content, how you go about asking yourself this coffee chat explanation. So my book helps high school principals enhance their school's academic performance by assisting them in creating a school culture that is inclusive, innovative, and collaborative. These what I call purpose statements that every author or aspiring author or professional even should be able to communicate. My book helps six-figure entrepreneurs and business owners scale their organizations to 10 to 15 million in annual revenue by using the power of automation, delegation, and systems, right? So when we understand our purpose statement, the question then is, once we get through our content, does my content accurately accomplish the objective that my purpose statement communicates? Okay. So when we think about the purpose statement here of my book helps six-figure entrepreneurs and business owners scale their organizations to 10 to 50 million in annual revenue by using the power of automation, delegation, and systems. Does my book communicate how to use automation, delegation, and systems? Does my book thoroughly connect with six-figure entrepreneurs and business owners? Does my book thoroughly communicate a process or strategy to help them scale their organizations to 10 to 15 million in annual revenue, right? So when you are able to, on the front end, develop a purpose statement, it allows you on the back end to measure your success of your content or the validity or value of your content with that initial purpose statement. And now you're able to say, all right, the book is complete, the book is ready to roll, and it meets the objective that I communicated in the beginning of my process, again, before I even started writing the book. Effectively plan your content. Effectively plan the content before you just start mapping it out. And this is why it's so important to have the writer's game, the business behind your story. This is why it's important to engage with a coach, to engage with an organization of experts to be able to walk you through the processes that you need so that you can be equipped with the information as well as the resources that you need to be successful. All right. So next question that I have here is number 6, technically. How do I not write too much? This is a great question. And again, it kind of piggybacks on the question prior to this is when you think about your book, when you think about your objective that you set in the purpose statement, when you think about what you're trying to get your audience to accomplish in totality, you have to ask yourself, is what I'm writing fluff, or is what I'm writing clear, concise, that allow information, clear and concise information that allows my reader to understand, to engage, to equip them to act on the information that they are being given, as well as helps assist them with their transformation. All right. I think that a lot of times, and when I first started writing books, I was just out here writing, to be completely honest. But too much versatility creates volatility. You want to be able to strip the fat, strip sometimes the meat, and keep the bones. You want to be able to have less words and more impact. When you look at books like The Alchemist and Who Moved My Cheese, similar books that are not even content heavy, but are absolutely amazing books and have sold tens of millions of copies. It's not necessarily always about getting a 200 to 300 page book. It's about transforming your audience clearly and concise, and being able to be concise through your content so that you can be able to create a transformation. All right. So how do I not write too much? Get to the point, communicate what you need to communicate, transform your audience, and then be able to close it out and move to the next chapter. Remember, you can always write another book. You can always write another book. What I would recommend is roughly 2,000 to 3,000 word count per chapter. So just kind of in layman's terms, if you're on a Word document and it's 12-point font, that's roughly 3 to 5 pages, of content mapped out. Now, when we put that in book format, leveraging a 5.5 by 8.5 or a 6 by 9, it condenses the copy, or it condenses the size. And if we increase the size of the font or decrease the size of the font, add spacing in between the font, now it allows us to have roughly, this book is 178 pages. All right. And again, this is talked about in the writer's game, the business behind your story. If you are with us and you have questions, if you have any question, again, about this journey of becoming an author, on this journey of building a business, if you have any questions directly directed at me personally or professionally, let me know. And then I'll bring up that question and I want to be able to answer that question. Every single Thursday, I'm going to be coming on here. I'm going to be answering you all's questions so that you can be able to have the support as well as the guidance that you need through this process of becoming not only an author, not only a storyteller, but the best version of yourself as well. All right, next question. What if I don't feel motivated to write? This question was asked on a call earlier this week when I was talking to one of my clients, and they asked this question. You know, there's some times where I'm writing the content and I just don't feel motivated. What I came back and said is, if you don't feel motivated talking about your content in this book for your reader, then maybe this is not the content that you need to be writing. Okay. When I wrote this book, it was literally so easy because the content spewed out. I want you to focus on books that spew out of you, that are so easy and so effortless. Just communicate and write the book that just is natural to you. If it's hard and it's like this battle to be able to write the book that you're actually wanting to write for other people, then I want you to start writing the content that you actually enjoy talking about, that you actually enjoy conversing about, that you enjoy researching. Write about the things that you love. Write about the things that you enjoy first. Okay. So again, it's not necessarily you're not going to like every single topic, But if you're not motivated and if you're not feeling the topic, if you're not feeling the content, I truly believe that your audience or your reader isn't going to be feeling the content as well. Okay. And again, if you all have questions, please put them in the comment section. Whatever platform it is that you are on, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's YouTube, whether it's the Facebook platform, put your questions in the comment section. And I would love, love, love to hear you all and answer your direct questions, because these are the questions that people have asked me this week. And I believe that they're important for you to know as a part of this journey. But again, these Q&As are directly for you all. And if there's a question that I didn't answer directly in the questions that I had, please ask me to re-answer that question and recommunicate. All right, here we go. So question number 8 that I have on my list is what happens when I get stuck. Like, I'm writing my book, I have, writer's block, I'm stuck. In my opinion, what I do when I get stuck, I stop. Okay, like don't force. And some of these questions aren't really there's not always a strategy. It's like, all right, do this, go get some tea and some lemon and put on this type of music. Some of this is literally you have to trust and listen to your body. You have to trust yourself through this process. Okay, writing a book is like anything, it's a journey. Okay, and you want to be able your heart, and you want to be able to feel it. It's I don't know, it's kind of like when and I love writing so much. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's an energy when we're focusing on writing content that is important to us, that's connected to us, but also that's connected to empowering and transforming other people. Okay. So when you feel stuck in your content, take a break, whether it's putting it down for the day, whether it's taking a few days to put it down and listen to music. What are the things that make you happy? What are the things that clear your mind? What are the things that bring you peace? What happens for me is when I get stuck, what I do is I take a break from my work, because when I start seeing myself, I'm either repeating things or it's just I'm dragging it. I take a break, I put it down. I'll go get me a glass of water. I'll go on a 20 to 30 minute run because I'm a runner, right? So I'll go on a 20 to 30 minute run, or I'll go to the gym and work out. And if I'm on a tight deadline, then I'll shower, get myself together, and then I'll open it back up. Now, what I also do though, is let's say I'm working on chapter 6 of my book and I just keep getting stuck in the same position. I will start working on other chapters of the book. Now, I'm a little weird, guys. I'm a little weird. Now, I've written books from intro to conclusion, but now what I do is I write books from conclusion to the introduction. So I write them backwards. It's very strange. I can explain that on another live or even on this live, just my process, because I want the reader, I want to know where I want to lead the reader, and then I work backwards so that I can be able to ensure that at the beginning, it matches with this journey that a reader is going through to get them to the end. Because I believe that when I used to start at the beginning, you never really know where you're taking them and you never really know where it ends. So it's a strange process, but it works for me. I teach both ways in the newest book. Again, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story. You got to get your copy. Go to thewritersgamebook.com, thewritersgamebook.com, and go grab your copy. Go grab your copy right now. Okay. So again, what happens when I get stuck? You got to take some time. That's all there is to it. In the book, we have different writing plans. And what I believe is that you should only be writing roughly 1,000 to 2,000 word count per day. Let's say roughly that takes about an hour and a half per day. Now, that's if you're typing. Me personally, and we talk again about this in the book, and we talk about this within my organization, stop typing your books. You're going to save 86% more time if you actually talk it. Leverage tools like Otter, Trent, Dragon is another tool out there. You can leverage Google. There's a lot of tools out there, transcription tools, that you can communicate, you can teach it, and then it will transcribe it for you. Leverage a Google Doc, a Word document, whatever document, software that you like, and then get that content, drop it over into that document, and continue to communicate. If you're going to have roughly a 60-minute conversation with someone, or if you were given a speech for 60 minutes, that's roughly 5,000 to 6,000 word count, I believe. Okay. Depending on the speed in which that you're communicating as well. Okay. So stop typing and start talking your books. And then it will allow you to, if you have writer's block, sometimes we can say a lot, but we necessarily don't. It's different when we're actually typing the content. So sometimes just talk it out. And that's another way to get around being stuck. Okay. And again, if you guys have questions, if you all have questions, anybody on here, if you have questions, please put your questions in the chat, in the comment feature, because I would love to feature some of those questions on here. Tonight is simply a Q&A. I don't have a training or this full gamut. I have 10 questions that were submitted to me throughout the week, and I want to be able to present those questions, answer those questions. But if you have questions, that's what this time is for. All right. And you can ask questions about business, personal, professional, time management, balance, all of these different things. All right. So the question that we have next is, how much could I make in the first year? This is a great question. And it's funny because I looked at the questions before. I didn't really prepare anything because, it's authentic and I do this on a daily basis. But I'm really glad that somebody asked this question because the sky is the limit. Now, I'm going to give you what our goal is for our authors that come through our programs. The goal is obviously 6 figures, so $100,000 minimum. What we like to not guarantee, but communicate and help authors build a plan to be able to commit and accomplish this goal is $250,000 a year within that first given year. Now, how you build this, and I literally break it down in chapter, I believe, 11 of my book. I talk about, it's maybe chapter 12. I'm going to get to it for you guys if you don't mind. And if you have in this time, if you have any questions, present your questions. So what I talk about in my book are the different ways for you to be able to create $250,000 in said revenue. So let's say within the first 30 to 60 days, you sell 1,000 copies of your book. Let's say you price out your book at $15 a copy, or that's $15,000. Okay. So now what we recommend is the second step after your book is some form of a digital product or service. Okay. So this could be a masterclass. It could be a webinar. It could be a mini course. It could be a digital bundle of different resources in regards to that relate and connect with your book. Anything you can sell it, let's say at $297. If you got 500 people to pay $297, that's $148,500. So now with that in your 15,000, we're now at 163,500. That's within the first 90 days. Now, again, these numbers are aggressive, but these numbers are possible with the right marketing team, with the right launch strategies. We help people and authors leverage and be able to create this type of revenue just from these two specific offers. Okay. So then number 3 would be memberships and communities. All right. So let's say within the first, 120 days, you have 250 members that join some type of community that is attached to people that are engaging with the content in your book. Let's say that community costs $47 a month. And now you enroll 250 members. That's an additional $11,750 on a monthly basis. That's recurring. So that will create roughly an additional 141 on an annual basis on top of the 163. If I'm losing you, if you're not a math person, you can go back through this, run the numbers. But now we've already gotten to $250,000. That's just those first 3 things. Let's say you get 5 speaking engagements for $5,000. That's an additional $25,000 on a given period of a year. Let's say you get a curriculum or learning resources or some type of consultant package for $10,000. Let's say you do that 5 times with 5 different organizations through the course of the year. That's an additional $50,000. So again, and it's actually in chapter 15 of my book. There's so many different ways to be able to make money. But what I want to tell you is that as an author, the money is on the back end. So it's not necessarily in book sales. It's not necessarily, only in selling consumers copies. And I want you to get out of that. That is a myth. It's not about just becoming a millionaire through book sales alone. It's leveraging the back end, which is upsells, speaking engagements, brand partnerships, consulting opportunities, coaching opportunities, live events, masterminds, high ticket programs, curriculum resources, licensing the content in your book, membership communities or subscription-based communities, digital products or services, courses are an amazing opportunity, or then you still have book sales. So I just gave you 10 potential ways to generate money, revenue within the first 12 months of your book being published. So even if with the 10 different ways, even if you only made $25,000 per each way, that's your $250,000 right there. So the goal within your first year of becoming an author is to generate $250,000 from your book being launched. Now, before your book, obviously, is even ready to roll, you should be going through a 4 to 8 week period pre-launch process. That's just what we recommend for our authors. You should be pre-launching the book for 4 to 8 weeks, surveying the market, getting research, creating quality content, leveraging what we call your sphere of influence, leveraging people in your network, gatekeepers, decision makers. And you should be focusing on ensuring that your book is in schools, that your book is in colleges, that your book is, whether it's in prisons, your book is in corporations, your book is at different conferences, you are speaking at different places. You want to be everywhere. As you all have seen for the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, I've been on here almost every single day creating content around the book, but I'm not necessarily sitting on here always talking about buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. You have to create an experience around the book, around the product, around the service that will allow people to want to engage with you in a way to actually buy the thing. Okay. Don't sell the thing, sell the experiences around it so that people then go back to the original book, course, speaking engagement, whatever it is. Sell the transformation. All right. So those are all of my questions. I have one more, and this was asked earlier today. How can your company help me? All right. How can your company help you? So the Writer's Game, we help executives, entrepreneurs, and if you're not one of those, we help professionals. Okay. Because you have to have some type of professional experience. Because what I want to tell you is that your story is not enough. Your story isn't enough. The story is amazing. You may have an amazing story, but how you position your story in the marketplace is what separates you from authors. On average, 92% of authors on average only sell 273 copies of their book. Our authors, our goal is for them to sell 1,000 copies within the first 30 to 60 days of them launching their book. When I think about Bernadette Joy, when I think about her, she has now sold, Bernadette Henry has now sold, I'm thinking about another author of ours, Bernadette Henry. I don't know how many author copies she has sold, but she is now on social media and she has 1 million viewership. She has 1 million people looking at her stuff on a daily basis. She sold hundreds of copies leveraging Barnes & Nobles, Walmart, Books A Million, Target, all of these online platforms. She's selling books online on her own funnels. And this is just because she's leveraging the strategies that we've given her. So to answer the question, what can our company help you do? We help you unpack your story. We help you determine your objectives. We help you write the book so that you can position yourself in the marketplace and then launch it. Obviously, after it's published, help you launch it, help you market it. So we help you monetize your story or monetize your experience so you can either leave your corporation, retire and have a retirement package from your corporation, or scale your business by $1 to $5 million a year by leveraging the book as the front end offer. This is a Q&A. So what questions do we have? The questions that were covered tonight, again, were number one, what should my book help me do? What should my first book help me do? Number two, are books still useful? Are they still a thing? Number three, where do I start writing? Like, where do I start my process? Number four is I have so many ideas. What should I write first? Number five is how do you know my book is complete? Like, I start writing it. How do I know it's complete? Number six is how do I not write too much? And these are questions that were submitted in. How do I not write too much? Number seven is what if I don't feel motivated to write? What do you do when you have writer's block? You start talking, all right? You take a break, you go on a run, you do something that brings you peace and clarity and clears your mind. Number eight, what happens when I get stuck? I talked about the different strategies that I use personally, as well as different things that we've helped our authors do as well. Number nine is how much should I be making in the first year? Nothing under $250,000. Nothing under $250,000 within your first 12 months of being an author, being an author. And number 10, how can your company help you? How can my company help you? We help you unpack your story, write your book, publish it, launch it, market it, and do your first 250 personally or professionally within your first year. If you're a company and you're leveraging this as a front-end offer, then we help that CEO or that executive write the book so that this can be a lead magnet to be able to grow their speaking career, grow consulting or coaching programs, grow live events, and do anything on the front end. This will be your original lead magnet as a part of the different funnels that you have. What questions do we have? 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 That is why I'm here. So I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your questions. I want you to go to thewritersgamebook.com and grab the book. I want you to go to the Writers Game and schedule a consultation with our organization. And you can click the link right there. You can click the writersgamebook.com. It's going to take you to a landing page. I'm going to talk about the book. You're going to have a few reviews on the book, and then you're going to be able to buy the book. You're going to be able to buy as many copies, up to 50 today. You're going to be able to have as many copies as you want. But I want to hear from you all. We have people still on here. Yes, hopefully you were able to take notes. Was this valuable? Hopefully this was valuable for you all. Can I get some comments? Can I get some ones in the chat, or some twos, or some fives, or some questions, so that I can be able to help someone tonight take their story, take their experiences, take their expertise, and be able to take it to the next level, and be able to take it to the next level. All right. So the reality of it is I kind of want to just touch on one thing really quickly, because I talked about this. I just talked about it. When I think about a funnel, right? And I'll wait for some questions to come in. So I'll kind of just talk right now. When I think about a funnel, if you do not know that term, that is okay. What a funnel is essentially is not just a landing page and then you go click, 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 click. That is a portion of a funnel, right? That's a variation, right? But a funnel is a journey. What is the journey that you are taking your customer, your client, or your ideal prospect through in order for them to be able to have the transformation that they desire? What does that mean? All right. So from what I talked about earlier today on a call that I did is, when you think about your prospect online, and I don't have any questions yet. When you think about your prospect online, when they engage with your content, when they see it, what is the experience that you want? What is the experience that you want? When they go through the content, and then they schedule a call or they buy something, what happens? What happens initially? The next step is, once they buy something, what does that onboarding or enrollment process look like? How do you want them to feel? How do you want them to engage? Then as they continue, what do you want the experience to be like when they're engaging with you in the business? All right. How are you going to increase their lifetime value and offer them additional products and services moving forward? All right. And then if there's ever a time where they're offboarded and moved away from the business, or they graduate from your service, what does that look like? I think a problem that I've had to grow out of is getting rid of clients. They don't always have to be working with you. There's a time where you graduate and you've done what you can do and they move forward. So what does that offboarding and that transitional period look like? So that's what that funnel looks like. And I believe that books are the absolute best front end offer for that funnel journey, through that customer journey that your customer is going through. Guys, I hope tonight was every single thing that you asked for, that you needed, and that you actually gained something, whether you're watching the live or whether you're watching the recording. If you're still here with us, I need you to do two things. I need you to share this video with at least 3 people. I need you to like this video. I need you to put 2 comments under the video, because it's going to help the algorithm in some type of way. All right. And then I need you to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to start binge watching content, you could literally just press play, watch the content, write some notes, because it's going to help my viewership. It's going to help my watch time hours, because we're trying to get this page monetized, baby. So I want you to do those things. And I want you to take this journey, take this whole process seriously, because books can truly transform not only your life, but the life of the people around you, as well as the life of the people that are coming after you. Guys, my name is Kyle King. I'm a 7-time published author, the newest author of the new book, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story. Go grab your copy tonight, whether you grab it through my page, whether you grab it on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, wherever you want to grab it, wherever you feel comfortable. Go grab the book, and then subscribe to the channel. And if there's any other questions after this, if we're off live, put them in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next week. See you.